Hello everyone, and you're very welcome to our channel Narc Con, where we deal with everything to do with narcissists so that you fully understand the experience you've been through or going through in order to just get the hell out of it and to really heal yourself going forward and protect yourself going forward against this personality type. So, how the narcissist got you to believe the discard was real or is real if you're suffering through this illusion at the moment. There are too many people that suffer in a devastating way through this experience, believing in the narcissist, believing that it was all their fault and that's the reason the narcissist discarded you. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So I feel it's incumbent upon us to deal with this and to really recalibrate our brains in relation to what actually happens when a narcissist discards you or leaves you and why they do it, and the reasons that it's nothing to do with you, which seems inexplicable when they've given you every reason under the sun to believe that it's all because of you. There will still be a grieving process because you will be grieving the loss of the potential that you would have thought the relationship had, and the narcissist will have come in heavy on the future faking aspects of the reward system of what you were going to get if you persevered in the relationship. But I'm going to go into the actual illusion of the discard so that you can place it firmly where it needs to be, where the sun don't shine, so that you can concentrate on getting yourself better in a clearer way. Or if you're still ruminating and it's a year down the line or even further, you can put this into the file in your computer that it needs to be in, so it's not messing up your hard drive, so to speak, on a daily basis or popping into your head every now and again or making you feel bad. That is the opposite of what we want this information to make you feel. Just before I get into it, and I'm going to share two of my own personal experiences because I think that makes it more relatable in a lot of ways, and I want to share it with you. So just to say, a technicality in relation to getting the podcasts, if you're a member of the channel, if you're a subscriber and you hit the little notification bell, the little black bell, and you pressed all because you want to be notified of the uploads. I upload about every 4 or 5 days in general, and you're not getting notified. I figured out, as I said in another podcast, put some type of a comment in the comments or like the podcast or share it or subscribe. And you should, once the algorithm on YouTube knows, hey, you like these type of podcasts, you like this channel, you go there quite a bit, then it will direct the podcast to you. Otherwise, you may not get them. So that's just a point of note for anyone that doesn't know how YouTube works. I sure didn't when I started. Okay, so how the narcissist got you to believe the discard was real, that the whole experience was real and that you were to blame for the discard. In actual fact, when you understand who and what a narcissist is, you can actually really detach from them and look at them over there and think, wow, what's going on there? Like, there's something really radically wrong with this person. And you look at them not as a functioning human being, but as somebody who isn't the same, who's somebody who has a serious issue going on. You look at them as if they don't have a brain, basically, as if they're totally alien to you. You know something serious is wrong with them. And that's the truth of the matter in relation to a narcissist having real relationships. They can't do that. They can't have a loving, empathic relationship that follows a normal, natural trajectory where they take accountability, where they introspect, where they compromise. That just can't happen if a person has narcissistic personality disorder. They can understand it cognitively, and they can do it cognitively so that they pretend to do it, but they're not actually doing it. So what's going on with the narcissist is they're looping, and I've spoken about looping in relation to us and rumination and how we do it. How the narcissist does it is they replay, and I'll link a video that I've done on this very subject at the end of the podcast. The narcissist is continually replaying the childhood experience they had that pushed them towards becoming a narcissist, basically. I believe they have a disposition towards that, or a bent of personality towards that ilk, where they destroy, etc., instead of grow. But what they were doing is, in their childhood, they had some type of parental figure or figure in school or whoever they didn't like telling them not to do something and being in control of them. They set out to make the fake person so that the person could manipulate their reality and they could manipulate reality because they didn't like what they were being presented with. And that's how they choose to go through life in overcoming. So they continually are doing this, particularly in intimate relationships. They will choose you and they will often parentify you at different times, but in actual fact, they take the position of parent with you and they put you in the position of child. And I'm going to get to where this relates to the discard in a few minutes. So throughout the relationship, they appear to be, an adult, and they appear to be your equal partner and all of those things in the love bombing stage. And, it's very believable. The mask is very believable. But what's actually going on psychologically is them wanting all the time to be in control of you and put you in the lesser position. They're the parent, they're the know-all, they know everything, and you have to do what you're told. And you know what it feels like in a narcissistic relationship. You're very aware with the grooming process, with the isolation, with all their techniques, that if you don't do what the narcissist wants you to do, that there's a subtle undercurrent there that they'll either give you a silent treatment, a mini discard, or make you understand that you need to comply and toe the line. And that's, in the devaluation stage further down the line. So the loving is taken away. They will withdraw, they'll push and pull, or they'll bring in a punishment. They're in the parental role with you. So now I'm going to get into two experiences I had with narcissists in relation to seeing this dynamic play out. So the first one was a mini discard that I had, which was my first, shocker, where you think it's the big, I'm going to call it the big discard, because the discard is 9 out of 10 times never final. So, you've done all this suffering, or you're going through all this suffering thinking the narcissist is never going to come back. Well, hopefully when they do come back, because generally they do, when they do come back, you will not want them back. But that's a whole nother story. So in the mini discard, the reason I got my first mini discard, which lasted, I think it was a week, but to all intents and purposes, I was left. The clothes were cleared out. There was a big drama. Oh, I'm gone, off on the donkey, as I say, off on the donkey. And that was, as far as I was concerned, the gates were closed. And because of the vitriol or terrible things that were said, the narcissist was not coming back. So the reason I got the mini discard was, and I was thinking about this before making the podcast, of all the different experiences to explain it. At the stage of devaluation I was in, the ex had been, as I'm sure you're familiar with, had been initially in the relationship, the spawn of the devil. I'd been triangulated with the ex. I'd been used against the ex, to provide childcare, etc., all those kind of things. During the mini discard, that was the phase of devaluation I was in, where I was being painted black more often than white. I was being put in the naughty corner more often. This particular narcissist started to praise the ex and up the ex and push the ex more in my face. So triangulation was a big favourite of this narcissist. So I addressed it and I said, honestly, you're really talking about this person so much that they seem to be a part of our relationship. And, you said at one stage that this person was really bad. And now when I actually said something in agreement with that's difficult for you, in agreement with you, with what you'd previously said about the person being bad, you bit my head off and you said they were amazing. So I said, I find that really strange behaviour. Well, whoosh. As you can imagine, that did not go down very well. And Speedy Gonzalez was out the door as fast as you could say chippets. So, I don't know where that came from. In any case, that was a mini discard that I thought was it. I thought the relationship was over. Now, essentially what happened there was I was giving cheek to my parent, and the parent had had enough. So I was being punished. I was being put in my room or sent to Coventry and not spoken to for a week. And that was effectively my punishment, to teach me my lesson and teach me to come under control so that I would be more compliant with the narcissist when the narcissist returned. And that is essentially what's going on. The narcissist takes that control role, takes that parental role, and punishes you for having the audacity to speak the truth. So that was one of my personal experiences, and I'm going to get into the big discard, I'll call it, the one that took, months and months and months before the Hoover came in. So the reason for the big discard, and it's amazing the clarity you get when you look back, and in retrospect, things become so much clearer. So don't beat yourself up for not having seen it at the time, because you're in that psychological prison that the narcissist has created for you. You're in an illusion. And it's very hard to see the wood for the trees. So the final discard, or the big discard, because it wasn't final, was when I started to ask for financial equality. This was a process over about 6 weeks, where I came to the point where I wouldn't have been able to pay my bills, and it should have been easier with 2 people to pay the bills, and I'd managed really well beforehand, before the relationship. And I sat down with figures and I spoke to someone and I looked at, whose income was this, whose income was that, and looked to see if we could make it fairer. So when I did bring that up 6 months prior to the big discard, I was asked, actually, could we hurry the marriage up? So I said no. So anyway, on the day when we were meant to, make a payment into something that was an agreed arrangement to make the finances more equal, vavoom, the donkey came out, the bags were packed, and off went the narcissist and never returned. So that was I had not learned my lesson. I had the audacity, and I'm sure you have similar circumstances. Please leave in the comments for people so that they can relate to that. You're not being compliant, you're putting in a boundary, and it could be the crux of why the narcissist was actually with you. And in my circumstance, financial resources would have been probably the main reason that one of the main reasons the narcissist was with me. So if I was drawing a gate and drawing a line on the finances not going to be as easy to get, then there was no point in staying. And I needed to be taught a lesson, because I had not complied, not handed over the dosh. So off went the narcissist again on the donkey. So what I'm saying to you is, the narcissist is trying to punish you. Each time you don't comply, a punishment the narcissist uses is withdrawal. So, how did the narcissist get you to believe the discard was real? The narcissist told you all along, or fed you back the information, that you weren't good enough. This is when you didn't do what the narcissist wanted you to do. So like a parent, the narcissist would put you in your bedroom, tell you to go to the naughty corner, not give you the sweeties, the love, etc. Tell you somebody else was better than you. It's like a parent saying, little Mary down the lane, she doesn't say this to her mother. She doesn't say this to her father. She goes and does what she's told. And, I'm going to get Mary in to take over your job if you think you can't do it. So the narcissist is basically selling you this wonderful life that doesn't exist, that's a fake, illusory reality, and is saying you can have this, but you have to lose yourself, lose your identity, and totally comply and do everything I say because I'm your parent. Once the narcissist sees, and they always see in every relationship, it goes in cycles in every relationship, they are in a different zone, guys. They're in a different zone. You're just as a prop to their illusions and their behaviour cycles that go looping and looping and looping. So it wasn't about you, because nobody's going to be totally compliant to anybody else. It just can't happen. And even when somebody is really, really, really compliant to the narcissist gets fed up, and their paranoia kicks in and they think that the person is codding them, is having them on, is conning them, because that's what they do to people and they project that onto the person. And the other thing is they see somebody that they think would be better. So you can't win with a narcissist in a relationship. So I digress. So literally, if you want to understand what process the narcissist is going through when they tell you you're not good enough, and that if only you had done this, you would have gotten the reward, and that if you're a good girl or a good boy, they will give you this as kind of payment for really standing on your head and doing 10 cartwheels because they said you should. They'll give you a little bit of the reward. And then they'll pull it away from you a little bit to make you do 20 cartwheels and stand on your head, but you have to do what you're told. There is no, self-development for you. You're the child, they're the parent, they're the controller, you're the controlled. Once that changes in any way, shape or form, the punishments come in, and the big punishments are mini discards, and the biggest punishment is the big discard. The big discard allows you to go off to the naughty corner and suffer and stay within the psychological prison that the narcissist wants you to stay in. Now, the next podcast, as a follow-on to part 2 of this, is going to be interesting, because the narcissist, from their past experiences, have found that this works, that this big discard works, and they're able to store somebody, like shelve them, it's called in some podcasts. They're able to store that person away, knowing that person is absolutely persecuted and tortured emotionally and psychologically in a prison without walls, so that the narcissist knows they won't have a relationship with somebody else, that they will be emotionally not able. And also they'll be very hooverable should the narcissist need to return at any stage. So the longer the person is left, the more grateful they may be when the narcissist returns. And they have to, of course, keep a check on that to make sure that the person gets to the point where they're fully boiled and ready for a hoover, but they're not overcooked so that they've actually escaped. What I would like to deal with in the next podcast is what it does to the narcissist when you escape that psychological prison that you were meant to stay in. So for anybody that's going through this at the moment, and I've been through it, guys, I know how bad it is. I know the devastation that narcissist expects you to be in. And without this information, people go under. So you got to be very, very careful to understand exactly what's going on here. This is just part of a crazy person's behaviour cycle that you happened to get trapped in. They will do this to everybody because their brain is running totally different to a normal human being's. They're literally not there. It is really eerie when you look at the narcissist and understand that they're kind of going, That's the way they can't escape this behaviour pattern. Control, control, control. Narcissistic supply, keep me going. Rages, silent rages, big rages, punishments, all of this is going on with the narcissist. So it's whoever comes in their sights is literally going to be treated the same because the narcissist is continually looping. And again, I will leave the explanation of this child, parent, switching of positions and the looping for the narcissist at the end of the podcast, which we're just getting to. So we're going to deal with what it does in the next podcast to the narcissist when you escape the psychological prison that they were sure you would stay in. And after that podcast, I would like to do a podcast on healing and actually when you do escape the psychological prison, how you can escape it faster, quicker and better. And this absolutely blows up for the narcissist because they are dependent on the behaviour cycles producing the same effects in individuals on which they perpetrate their destructive behaviour patterns. Guys, that's it for now. I just wanted to say, any channel members that are listening, we will do the membership live on this coming Sunday. It's the fortnightly live, and I was going to do it at 6 p.m. GMT. So 6 p.m. GMT this Sunday. I will schedule and post it. And we will do probably the week after that an open live for everybody because I should be in a different time zone. I'll give you more information on that in the next podcast. Please take care, everyone. Please understand and realise that this is like dealing with somebody in a lunatic asylum, and try and detach yourself from the situation in as much as possible in order for you to process the experience you've been through. Take care, and we will see you again very soon for the next podcast. Bye for now.